Mick Mulvaney is in as interim White House Chief of Staff, or acting White House Chief of Staff, can't remember. Anyway, a pretty relevant topic for Corey and David, who co-authored the book Trump's Enemies, How the Deep State is Undermining the Presidency, and Jason, whose book is The Deep State, How an Army of Bureaucrats Protected Barack Obama and is Working to Destroy the Trump Agenda. The reason I'm saying both those book titles again is if you haven't bought them yet, please go and do it, because they're great. Mick Mulvaney, I just thought you'd like to see this if you haven't seen it already. A little clip from him talking about President Trump in 2016. Let's have a look.
Yes, I'm supporting Donald Trump. I'm doing so as enthusiastically as I can, given the fact I think he's a terrible human being.
A terrible human being. Okay, so I was just intrigued by the notion that he's the acting chief of staff, the interim chief of staff, and I was just wondering, David Bossy, since you were widely discussed in connection with this job, whether he's really just keeping it warm for you.
I don't think so, Steve. Look, Mick Mulvaney is an incredible leader. He is going to do a great job for this president. He brings a host of background wide in policy and politics and the legislative process. His budget background, finding money for the wall. He is going to serve this president as of whatever it's going to be, January 2nd, in that capacity, and we'll see if he ends up staying there. I think the president, it gives this president time to make the right decision, a thoughtful decision that he is. He wants somebody who's going to be with him through the 2020 election, and Mick Mulvaney and several others can help guide him in that way.
Including you.
Well, you know, it's a humbling thing to be on that list, Steve, to be honest. And so I do the best I can helping this president every single day. You know, Corey and I were with him on Friday and had a chance to visit with him and talked about a lot of these issues. And we talked about his future for the next 2 years.
All right, very good. Well, I'm not going to go any further. That was very interesting. I want to actually go back to our earlier topic because we had such a lot of interesting points on that about members of Congress going into lobbying. Jason, you pointed out a glaring loophole in the rules that are supposed to prevent the corruption.
There's no prohibition for a member of Congress the day after to start to lobby the administration. Remember, there are 2.2 million federal employees. And so if you leave Congress, yeah, you can't go talk to your fellow congressman for a year in the House, 2 years in the Senate, but you can go talk to the administration all day long, and a lot of them do.
And you had some points about how to solve you brought up term limits again, David, when we were talking about this.
Because it dilutes the power of these members. If we have term limits, you have a lot more of them, and you'll have a lot more turnover amongst the staff. And that's where power really, you know, it gravitates around the very few, very important and powerful staffers that end up being there for a very long time. If you have more turnover in Congress, yeah, you will defeat that, and that makes it better for every American.
It's interesting because you hear term limits over and over again, but you've all made such a powerful case for it in different ways.
This
on
president
the show tonight.
supports term limits.
Very interesting. Tommy, quick thoughts on
Well, I agree with him, and I think the reason we don't talk about term limits enough is because it's not as sexy as talking about the wall or talking about Russia
We're going to make it sexy tonight.
Or anything else.
Made it sexy, exactly.
But it makes sense.
Look, the professional staff members, those that are running these committees, have all of the influence when their bosses come and go. Many of them stay there. And they are the individuals that, when they decide to leave Capitol Hill, demand significant salaries and have the opportunity to go back and influence the process unduly in a bad way. And that should change.
And that's what we cover the whole time.
There is this great story about a congressman who went to go meet with a secretary, but the secretary wasn't there. It was just the staff was there. He said, "Oh, I'm meeting with the B team." And they said, "Yeah, we be here before you, and we be here after you. We are the B team."
There you go. Right, and that's, to be honest, that's why we focus, when we do Swamp Watch, we look at the staff just as much as the members. All right, thank you, everyone.